Welcome back, everyone, to our series on the Charter of Triunnia Genesis Codex. This is the last video in the series. In this video, we will look at the supplemental section, which contains end matter relating to management of the Codex. Specifically, we'll look at how this Codex is a gift to humanity and how other people can use it in their societies. We'll look at how the Codex can be updated and who is qualified to make those updates. And we'll finish off with the contributors so that we can honor everybody who works on it. That's our agenda for this video. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this series on the Genesis Codex. This is the last video of the series. If you've been with me thus far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're getting a lot out of it. We'll just cover the supplemental section here and tidy up any last remaining bits of this presentation. 161, Gift to Humanity. The Genesis Codex is a gift to humanity. It was created as an endeavor to uplift the people out of tyranny and set course for a new enlightened age. It is the most advanced constitution for a country that has ever been created on Earth. It uses a new law, the law of thought, to give us a higher resolution of how this universe works. And upon that knowledge, that higher resolution, we can set a new and better standard. And thus, all of the weaknesses that are being brought to light right now, all of the entry points for corruption, all of the reasons why your societies are failing, we can fix that. We have the opportunity to fix it here. We have the know-how. It's just a matter of actually bringing it to fruition. It's a gift because it's a gift to societies. Any society, new or old, is welcome to adopt the Genesis Codex for free and without any restrictions except for the following. So not only is this Codex the first book of the Charter of Triunnia, not only is this constitution the basis for our society, your society can build upon it too. You could be building a micronation, you could be running a macronation, an existing country, or any other society. If you wanted to adopt it, you are welcome to do so. It is designed to be modular, which means there's nothing in here that's specific to Triunia. It's just recognition of universal law in general. The specific Triunia stuff, that comes later in the later codices, especially the Triunia Codex, the last one. So it's a gift to society so that any society can use it, subject to these restrictions. No alteration of content. The content and structure of the Genesis Codex must not be altered in any way. That means the society cannot alter the numbering, the titling, the words in each article, the diagrams. Presentation may be altered, but the content, the substance cannot be changed because only a paragon of Triunia is allowed to make those changes. There's a very specific education that is required to be able to write a document like this. So not just anybody can do it. If you allow somebody to make those kinds of changes and they don't have the requisite knowledge, they are going to make a mistake. And that mistake will, remember, we're programming reality. That mistake will effectively create a bug in the program that unfolds your society over time. And that will create a problem. Going on long enough, that bug gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and maybe it gets exploited. And then, okay, so you've got interests exploiting that bug and surviving off it and parasiting off the society. The longer that goes on, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It becomes too much of a weight for the society to bear, and it will collapse the system. Except, of course, they won't want it to collapse, so they'll prevent it from collapsing. And our technical definition for a tyranny is a system that has failed and is prevented from collapsing. If somebody unqualified makes changes to this document, they can introduce a bug that will one day down the road, in 1,000 years or so, create a tyranny for the society. That's a problem. So that's why the content can't be altered. The presentation, however, may be altered. The presentation and styling of the Genesis Codex may be altered as required. The one that you're looking at is how we like to look at it in Triunia. It has our green color, it's got our font and our typography. and the way in which we present named entities. Later on, there'll be flourishes and backgrounds, and it's going to look really nice. And we actually have a custom rendering program to actually make that nice and easy to generate new versions of it whenever the source code changes. But that's our presentation, and it may not be what's appropriate for your society. And so you're welcome to change it however you need to. Change the appearance of it and the styling so that it's appropriate to your society. But the words, the content, and the structure must be the same. And so, keeping with that, the references and links may be altered. So, any references to Triunia, which is this society, Charter of Triunia, and any links may be altered as required. References to the Paragon of Triunia, however, must not be altered because that's who is qualified to make changes. But you'll see up here the title, Charter of Triunia. It's going to be a link as well. It'll change this to Charter of my society, whatever that is, Charter of your society. And then anywhere else it says Triunia in the Codex, you can make that change as well. Except this one. This one cannot be changed. Gift to try and sell. So we did gift to societies. Now we're doing gift to individuals. Try and sells are welcome to use the Genesis Codex in any way for free and without any restrictions except for the following. No alteration of content. So same thing. The content and the structure of the Genesis Codex must not be altered in any way. Presentation may be altered. Their presentation and the styling of the Genesis Codex may be altered as required. So it's the same rules as for a society. And the reason this exists is so that you can make a copy of it and do whatever you want to its presentation. You can personalize it and make it your own. And that's important because it's a kind of studying activity for you. And if you actually wanted to do that, it would help you learn the things that are being spoken about in this codex. It's a very advanced codex and is based on some very advanced work. It literally stands upon the best knowledge humanity has acquired to date. And so if this isn't the kind of thinking you normally do, and if you don't think about reality in this way, studying it, however you get your studying in there, that will help you absorb and digest the information and learn it, and then learn the thinking tools that are required to work with this information effectively, to work with this knowledge effectively. And so it's a gift to you individually so that you can start a studying of the material, lift yourself up out of ignorance or abandonment issues or whatever else, heal yourself. The Genesis Codex gives you a map. Thinking in Destiny gives you the law, and it also gives you thinking tools, and it shows you the way. And then the Law of Nations, go read that as well, because you'll look at the world in a different way and a better way. And while you're at it, go learn about the character triad as well. We'll have more to say about that later. But yeah, you can make it your own. Now, here's the catch. Potentially no effect. Unless the Triune Self is a member of a society that has adopted the Genesis Codex, none of the articles in this codex can be expected to have any legal effect in their life. This is a constitution for Triunia, or it's a constitution for whatever society adopts it, but it's not the constitution for any existing country, which means if that's your country and you're trying to argue a point in court based on this, it doesn't have any effect there because it's not the laws of that country. They're using a different system with different knowledge. It's fundamentally not compatible with their jurisdiction, and so you can't really expect it to have any legal effect in that country. It's not designed for them. They won't know what to do with it. They won't even understand it. Here's what you can do with that situation. You can move to a compatible jurisdiction. For those Triune cells wishing to live by the Genesis Codex, they must move to or build a society which supports it. Fundamentally, existing societies will not allow you to live by the Genesis Codex because the recognitions and the rules set forth here will cause a conflict with the legal systems and the rules of those societies. And that conflict will one day create a crisis if you're trying to use it. And so to avoid that crisis, you got to move if you want to truly live by it. But you can also use it as a useful guide. The Genesis Codex is still useful as a personal guide and has the ability to highlight errors in non-implementing jurisdictions. So you might not be able to use it and apply it forcefully, and maybe it has no weight in their courts, but you're still aware of where they're making mistakes in their system, and you know why and you know how that works. If you study this sufficiently and get the understanding there, it will open up options for you going forward. You pick your battles. Maybe you actually are able to get a law changed in your jurisdiction's own way with their language and understanding, but you were inspired by something here to give you fuel in that fight, or you were armed by this codex as a tool in that fight. It can be helpful, but it's not for that society. To get the best effect, you need to be in a society that honors it, that recognizes it, that implements it, and that honors it. The way it's going to work in Triunia is if a court does not recognize the operation of the law of thought in its system, we're going to deem that court not competent. A lot of things are like, we'll take this to a court of competent jurisdiction if there's a conflict. We won't consider them competent because they're ignorant of this law. And this is a very important law. And we know that as a result of that ignorance, many immoral and dishonorable behaviors occur. And that's a problem. It's a scaling problem. And it's what's led you to this video here today. Okay, 162, updating the Genesis Codex. Here's the procedure, or at least the bare bones of the procedure. A paragon of Triunia is required. Only a paragon of Triunia has the ability to update the Genesis Codex and is the only one authorized to do so. In our Triune democratic system, if there is a constitutional amendment or constitutional change that has to be made, it requires a paragon to sign off on the change to ultimately allow it. It might be written and authored by other people in the society, but the final say of it, the final implementing power, some might say royal assent, only we don't use the term royal in Triunia, we use the term triune. That final say is with the paragon of Triunia. No one else is qualified. Contributions by others require a paragon of Triunia to authorize. Here are the qualifications. It's an entire page of qualifications. That much. The following minimum knowledge set must be learned and is required to update the Genesis Codex. Under the category of law, they must know the law of thought and the law of nations. Absolutely bare minimum. They must know the free will universe and how nature works. They must know law and realities. They must know contracts and agreements, standing and jurisdiction, and of course international law, pacta sunt servanda and all that. If they don't have this knowledge, they're just not going to be able to operate in the world and design a society and make changes to its founding documents. But it's not just that. They must also have strong character. In Triunia, power is achieved by strength of character. It's a character-driven system. So they must know self-respect, morality, and honor. And not just know, but have these qualities embedded in their being or developed in their being so that they always act this way and never not act in this way. They must have self-knowledge and discipline because lacking any of these, any kind of influence from nature in any way can be used to manipulate and control. And we don't allow that. That's very dangerous for the society because it makes the paragon a puppet. And you can't have your head of state a puppet of somebody else. That's extremely dangerous to the society. They must know self-government from within. They must be in control of themselves. No one else can be in control of them. They must have freedom from nature's influence. They must be free from perdition and mind control. They must understand the dynamic between the actively good and the actively wicked people, and the passively good and the passively wicked people. We haven't covered this concept. One day I'll make a video on it. Can't remember where I got it from. I think it's from Arlen Hauser's articles. But the short version of this is there are not many actively good people on Earth. There's a bunch of actively wicked, and most people are passive, and that means the actively wicked rule. And the reason why is the control system on this planet keeps the actively good down. It prevents them from actually operating. And so you're effectively naturally selecting as a planet for actively wicked people. And that's why things are spiraling out of control. As part of character development, they must know courteousness, protocol, and manners. Why not? These are lost skills, but they're actually very important. They have to know how to navigate life with total freedom and total responsibility, because these two are linked and they are going to be the ultimate head of state of Triunia, and they have to act as a head of state. They have to be in that position, and ultimately they represent the entire society. So in addition to knowing the law and developing strong character, they have to have knowledge in various disciplines. They must have deep esoteric and occult knowledge. Any society of this kind of magnitude is going to know what it's doing. It's going to have deep esoteric knowledge and occult knowledge, however that is expressed. It's going to be metaphysical, it's going to be spiritual, whatever it is. It's going to work with the laws of the universe to the best possible effect for that society, and the esoteric stuff is a huge part of that. It's a mental universe, so knowing the mental arts is how you do it effectively. They also have to know philosophy and metaphysics, psychology, system science here because we're actually using this discipline in Triunia in our founding documents in how things work. It's not enough to know the law of thought. It helps to understand how it works as a system because every system is an arrangement of thoughts. And so you combine the law of thought with system science, you get something very powerful. And then there's all this computer stuff, computer science, software architecture, system design, and system scaling. All of this to say there are best practices in terms of designing systems that scale, and this field does that pretty much every day. And so when you are in this field, you start learning lessons about how to scale systems very, very effectively. And so you get good at that really quickly. And that's why it's important. For example, if you write a silly program that creates an infinite loop or a memory leak that crashes the program, well, the same problem there, scaled up, can destroy a society. And so you learn in a small, safe environment on your computer how to scale things effectively. If it doesn't work in the atomic case, it will not work at scale. That's how I run myself individually scales up to how I would run a society. It's the same lessons, only bigger. The lessons of self-respect, morality, and honor apply to me individually. They also apply to the state as a whole, as one singular entity. A society that doesn't respect itself will decay and dissolve itself. A society that behaves immorally and dishonorably will just cause fights all over the place, cause conflict everywhere. And because they're doing that, they'll invoke the balancing factor and the consequences of their own actions. They have to know biology and physiology because it's all about us, the trying cells, the human being. They have to know how to keep that safe and healthy. So this may tie into health, it ties into environment, along with ecology, and that's why that's here, because we exist in this world as beings in an ecosystem, and we are a part of that ecosystem. And so you got to know how we fit into it so that we don't craft laws that destroy our environment, because that ultimately destroys ourselves. And they have to know history so that they don't repeat the mistakes that other people have made, so that they can learn from it. And so all these things is the required knowledge set in addition to these character development traits and of course this law knowledge. And they must be of the knower class. We can't have a laborer or a trader or a thinker in the paragon position because their fundamental knowledge qualities are not sufficient. They don't have the memory from beyond nature that a knower has. They don't have the qualities that a knower has that are absolutely required to do something like this. The paragon of Triunia is a glorified system administrator that can write the Constitution or rewrite it at will for Triunia. Their changes alter the reality for all the people in the society. And so it's taken very seriously, and they have to know the lessons I'm setting forth. Like they are engaged in active programming, and they have to be respectful for everyone that they're writing that program for. It's a big skill set, and it's a unique skill set. I'm the only one on earth with this particular combination of knowledge, and thus right now the only one qualified to actually do this. That also means I have to play to my strengths. I have to do what only I can do, which is writing this constitution, building out the systems of Triunia. I can't lead the society though, not really. I need you to help me lead it, to fill council and lead the society. So I don't actually expect to lead Triunia myself. I'm going to be in the background as a glorified system administrator, basically, but you are going to lead it. You're going to develop it and set the direction in nature through time. I'm just building the vessel that will allow you to do it. And that's what the Paragon does. That's the Paragon's role, and these are the requirements for it, and they're the ones who make the changes here. Now, the very last thing, we'd like to be able to recognize every single contributor to our codices. It's a way of recognition, it's a way of honoring them, it's a way of giving thanks. Every codex in our charter will have a contributor section at which lists the contributing paragons. So this is me right now, and I'm not giving my name right now, sorry. There has to be a title, but we don't actually know what it should be, so we're just using the British nobility system right now. In Triunia, we have some titles that are specific to us, like our paragon, which is the equivalent of an emperor or empress rank. And then our counselors are triune representatives, that's what they're called. But where we don't have a title defined, we'll fall back to the British nobility system. And it's the same with address. So this is what we have for now because we just don't know what else better to make it. But maybe you could think of something. What should a paragon be addressed as if they're the ultimate head of state of an empire? Only we don't call them empire or empress, we call them paragon. So every paragon will be listed up here, their address, their name, their title, and the year of their contribution or years. And then anybody else who makes a change, who contributes, they'll be listed down here. So their address could be Duke or Lady or I don't know, whatever else. Name and their title in the society and their year. And this is a lot like the credits in a movie, or if we have a building, we'll have a plaque in the building with the names of everybody who contributed to that building, much the same way as we have here. It's a tradition and an honor that I'd like for us to have. That is the last page of the Genesis Codex so far. And so that's the Charter of Triunia. That is the first book of our Constitution. There are, of course, 4 books. Thank you so much for watching this series of videos. I know it was a long one and very detailed, but I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video below. I'll answer them as I get to them. And if there are a sufficient number of questions, I may even make a follow-up Q&A video to answer them more thoroughly. And so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it interesting and inspiring. There is a solution to tyranny. This is it. Your best thinking brought you here. The system's purpose is what it does. It's time for better thinking and a better system. In this video, we looked at the supplemental section in the Genesis Codex and saw how management of the Codex can work. We saw what goes into using the Codex in other societies or for yourselves individually as a guide that can show you where your societies are going wrong. We saw what goes into making updates to the Codex and the extensive qualifications that are required to perform this work. Finally, we saw the contributors list and got a first look at how we honor our people. Thank you so much for watching this video and the series as a whole. These are densely packed videos that set a new standard going forward, and I really hope you got a lot out of them and found them useful, inspiring, and hopeful. I've worked hard over many years to figure out how we can remove corruption from civilization, restore power to the actively good, and allow for a truly free and sovereign life, and that work is being deployed here in Triunia, not in any existing society or country. Other countries do not know what it takes to do this and are not set up for it by their system design. Be very, very careful following leaders who do not know their fundamentals. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, whenever that may be, because there is no regular posting schedule, but I hope it will be within a few months with news about how we're finally ready to take in new members. No one person can build a society. I cannot do this without you. You are so important, so subscribe to be notified for when the next video appears, because I'm getting ready to make things actionable for you.